Jacob, we see here, has been able to have a certain level of success. We know the backdrop. For those of you who were raised in church, you know the backdrop of the story of Jacob. You know how Jacob was born. The fact that they gave him the name of Jacob defines actually who he is, because when he was born, he actually tried to beat out his brother in becoming the firstborn, and he tried to grab his heel. And so that's why they called him Jacob, because the word Jacob, or the name Jacob, means supplanter, one who tries to take somebody else's place. And Jacob's life pretty much is summed up on this name that is given to him. All of his life, Jacob is trying to take something that doesn't belong to him. Jacob is trying to somehow be something that he's not, because he doesn't feel free to be who God made him to be. And a lot of times we are trying to steal somebody else's identity. We're trying to steal what somebody looks like, or what somebody talks like, or how somebody acts like, because we don't feel comfortable the way God made us. But I'm here to tell you that God has given us a particular identity within this thing we call life, so that we can stand out individually. The fact that he did not make us all the same color, the fact that he didn't make us all the same shape, is just God saying that I made you for a specific purpose, and this is why I made you the way I made you. But Jacob doesn't feel comfortable being who he is. And so that's why Jacob, on one occasion, as his brother's coming back from being tired and having worked the field and having done all the stuff that he did, he was a hunter, his brother, while Jacob was a homeboy. He liked to be at home. He liked to be chilling, watching TV, while his brother was out working the field and doing all the necessary stuff to bring food on the table. Jacob was busy being mama's boy. All right? And Jacob always likes the easy way out. And so Jacob, in this particular passage that we're reading here, Jacob has made it. Jacob has the latest iPhone 7. Jacob has a big family. Jacob has the 2-car garage, the 3-bedroom house, the 2.5 bath. Jacob has the latest BMW 2015. I mean, Jacob is lit. Jacob's got it going on. But Jacob still feels empty. See, you can have everything that this world has to offer and still feel empty, and still feel like there's just something missing. See, for a lot of us, we're striving to get out of poverty, or we're striving to get out of this paycheck to paycheck type living, and we're striving to finally meet the man that we want to meet, or meet the woman that we want to meet. But there comes a point in your life where you've done all of that stuff and you're still saying, hold on, there is still a gaping hole that none of this stuff has been able to fulfill. But what I like about Jacob is that even in the midst of all of these things that he's pursuing and chasing, and he's scheming and he's conniving people, Jacob knows that there is more. I'm here to tell you this morning that although you may have approached certain things the wrong way, and you may have looked for it in the wrong sources, the fact that you are seeking is going to eventually lead you into the place that you need to be, into the circumstance and situation that you need to be in, which is an encounter with God. And so Jacob's like, man, I've been trying to get some sleep here. My pillow, first of all, is a rock, and I finally find the right position on this stone, and now you're going to come and wake me up and just walk away? No, it doesn't work like that. You're going to have to now bless me. Matter of fact, I'm not going to let you go until you bless me. I'm not letting go. There are moments in our lives that we have to just get the drive and the determination to say, I'm not letting go. I'm not letting go of this ministry. I'm not letting go of this calling. I'm not letting go of my physical body. I'm not letting go on hope. I'm not letting go on faith. I'm not letting go on grace. I'm holding on until you bless me. See, because when you begin to wrestle with God, that prophetic word that He releases over your life begins to be activated. What do you mean, Pastor? This is what I mean. In Genesis chapter 28, 4 chapters before, God releases a prophetic word on Jacob, but nothing happens to Jacob. Some of you, God has given you a prophetic word, but nothing has happened yet. And the thing that you need to understand is that in order for that word to be activated, sometimes you're going to have to wrestle with God. Sometimes you're going to have to provoke God to give you what He already promised. Look at what it says here on Genesis chapter 28, verse 14 and 15. It says, your descendants will be as numerous as the dust of the earth. They will spread out in all directions, to the west, to the east, to the north, and the south. All of the families of the earth will be blessed through you and your descendants. What's more, I am with you and will protect you wherever you go. God gives him a word of blessing and multiplication, and He gives him a word of protection, but still Jacob is fearful of Esau, because Jacob hasn't activated that word that has been declared over his life. Let me tell you something today. There are some of you that God has released a prophetic word on you. There's some of you that God has spoken directly to you, and somehow you think that the prophet was lying, the prophet wasn't real, it was some kind of prophet lie or something. It's not that the prophet didn't know what he was talking about. It's that you have not taken the time to recall the prophetic word that God has placed over you. You haven't taken the time to provoke God to give you what He already promised you. Some of you, God has declared stuff over you years ago, and you thought they were crazy. You thought they've lost their mind. But God is recalling that prophetic word today so that you can begin to provoke God to give you what He has promised you. I won't let you go until you bless me. Some of us have been holding on to the wrong stuff, and that's the biggest problem. And in order for you to hold on to something new, you're going to have to let go of something old. In order for you to hold on to His promises, you're going to have to let go of your failures. In order for you to hold on to His promises, you're going to have to let go of all your past mistakes, of all your past depression, of all the victimization that they've made of you. You're going to have to let that stuff go so you can pick up what God has for you. Am I speaking to somebody this morning that has received a prophetic word and it has not provoked God yet? But I believe that this is the day that God has made for you to begin to provoke God to give you and activate in you what He already promised. We're holding on to stuff that never came through, or a father who never came through, a mother who never came through. We're holding on to guilt from past. We're holding on to shame from past. And as a matter of fact, when we see people who know our past, all of a sudden we become shameful and we become guilty because of our past. Let me tell you something. When I encountered that person who knew me from 7th grade and 8th grade, I made sure that they knew that, yes, I was that person in 7th or 8th grade. Yeah, Jacob was alive and well back then, but no longer is Jacob alive anymore, because there is an Israel that has awakened up within me, and therefore I will not be fearful or be regretful of who I was. As a matter of fact, I dare to say that it was the very thing in my past that actually has brought me to where I am today. And that's why I'm not embarrassed of who I was. Because that's who I was, not who I am. That's who I was. That's not who I am. And so Jacob all this time is holding on to something that wasn't his, holding on to Esau's identity. He wasn't happy being the second. And so I'm here to tell you that you don't have to be the first in order to be favored by God. You don't have to have been perfect your whole life in order to be chosen by God, in order to be picked by God. As a matter of fact, God has a tendency to begin to pick the stuff that's overlooked by everybody else. Just ask David. After all of his brothers had been brought up to the prophet of Samuel, they assumed that one of the 7 had to be the one that was going to be chosen as the next king of Israel. But yet, Samuel says, none of them are it. Because a man looks at the appearance, but God looks at the heart. Find me somebody else. I'm not going to sit down and have this sacrifice and this time of worship until I see and speak to the one who's going to be anointed the next king. And all of a sudden, they pick somebody up who's back taking care of sheep in the farm, smelling like sheep and smelling like farm and smelling like the field, and doesn't have the look or the appearance of somebody who's in the house or somebody who has it together. He has the appearance of somebody who's out there in the wild. And this is what God is looking for. A generation of Elijahs that have been overlooked because they have weird clothes on and they have a weird look and they have purple hair and they have all this stuff, but they have an anointing. They have a grace about them. While everybody was overlooking David, David was busy praising God. He was busy worshiping God. He was busy building up intimacy with God. And this is what God is looking for right now. A people that are concerned more with intimacy with God than what they can show other people that they have to prove who their name tag says that they are. I'm here to tell you that this life is more than just a name tag.